Hey guys, it's Tom Deans here, sheepdogging with Tom Deans, as I call it on YouTube. I just wanted to weigh in a little bit more about what's going on in this post-national state, no mainstream, no core identity. These, of course, were the words spoken by our previous Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, about over a decade ago. And that's very much the case, and that's very much what this country actually is. I look at the maple leaf, for example, as a symbol of Eastern Dominion over Western Canada and Canada, for that matter, in general. Of course, the sugar maple does not grow organically in Alberta here, just so you know, guys. But again, like think about many things, like where the Maritimes, for example, has 24 senators, and they have roughly about 2 million people. Alberta here, we have 6 senators, and we have 5 million people. And of course, when you think of Ontario and Quebec combined, they actually have 48 senators, 24 per province. And again, I'll reference back to the Maritimes, where there's a 10-to-1 like representation discrepancy, which is really interesting to think about, right? Because I mean, originally when this was all set up, you had Upper and Lower Canada and the Maritimes. Of course, the West wasn't so much a part of that right until later on. But again, like when we look at the structure that's in place today, it's entirely set up to benefit the East. And of course, like between Ontario and Quebec, they have roughly 60 million people in Ontario and about 9 in Quebec. And they have 200 federal MPs out of 343 seats. So think about these things for a moment, okay? Like when you actually think of the unelected, appointed senators that are down east, by comparison to what we have out here per population, per capita. For example, the Maritimes, again, it's a 10-to-1 ratio discrepancy, meaning for roughly about 800,000 people in Alberta, we have 1 senator, as opposed to 1 senator for about 80,000 people in the Maritimes. So there's that, right? And of course, people say, well, the Senate doesn't mean anything. Well, then why do we have it? Of course, to get rid of the Senate, you have to have a constitutional change, which is not going to happen because of the 750 rule. Okay, if you look into that, where 7 provinces have to agree with over 50% of the population to make these changes. So again, like basically, so the East, what I call the Laurentian elite, are running the show here. And I really encourage everyone in Alberta to really take a look and ask yourselves, like, do you really want to continue with this system of governance? Like, for example, too, with what happened with COVID. Like, I'll tell you one thing, our government officials have lied to you and did not do the right thing. Not one of them. And I mentioned that yesterday. And basically, where the system that's been established is essentially where there's these projects that we pay for, taxpayer-funded projects, and then the profits have been privatized. Example of the NDAs with the big pharmaceutical companies, where they profit, and guess who pays for damages and reparations for these, I'm just going to say the vaccine injured, and so on and so forth, would be us, right? So again, it's socialized, right? So the big companies are completely immune, which is unreal when you think about that. There's no accountability here, guys, for what happened. There will be a day, okay? Mark my words, there will be a day. But I encourage you to think about the post-national state that we live in, that people call Canada. This whole blind patriotic attitude towards this country is foolishness to me. So think about the things that I've said, and take a look at all the independence leaders. There's many. There's, of course, APP, and there's Let Alberta Decide. There's Keith Wilson's, Tanya Clemens. There's Mitch, there's Jeff, there's Corey Morgan out there too. There's a lot of people, right, that are presenting a lot of information. Like, another name that comes to mind is Michael Wagner. Just look at the history, and look at the history of what people have tried to do, trying to keep the unity originally of this country, right? But it always gets shut down, always. So we have an opportunity now. And I'll tell you, like Danielle Smith's idea of a sovereign Alberta within a united Canada is not going to work. Why? Because the Constitution will not allow that. The way it's set up, they're not going to do it. So we have every reason to leave. You just have to see it for what it really is. Look at the facts and look at how we're being governed, and there's just no accountability, guys. Like, let's create an Alberta where we hold our leaders accountable for wrongdoing. Can you imagine what that would be like? You know, where they have a little bit more dignity with regards to taxpayers, and they forget their role, they forget their place. They're supposed to be watchmen and overseers that are looking out for our best interests. But right now, it's basically they're looking out for the best interests of the multinational corporations. That's it. That's what Canada's become. Take care, guys. It's Tom Deans, sheepdogging with Tom Deans. Have a good day.